Hello and welcome back to the channel. Bit of a different one this video because I just wanted to quickly talk about Ready Player Two, the sequel book that is out just about now after I recently covered Ready Player One in its film form. Now it's fair to say I'm not keen on the film, and I really wasn't that keen on the book for Ready Player One either, but some details have emerged about Ready Player Two, and it just looks like the most sequel-esque thing ever. It's the most sequel I think I've ever read in synopsis form. So let's take a look at the synopsis that actually has been officially released. And first of all, I think it's key to remember that Ready Player One is told as if Wade is retelling the events to you. It's his memories. He's looking back on things that have occurred. Now, apparently, the events of Ready Player 2 start days later, which means everything that happens here, he just hasn't mentioned when he's been telling you the story of the first one, even though we're led to believe he's looking back a number of years. Already it's a bit dodgy, I think, a bit weak. But as we can see reading the synopsis, the plot is essentially the same again. Wade needs to find a MacGuffin. It's a MacGuffin, not an Easter egg, as I explained in my video on the film. It's got that sequel element of upping up the ante. It's not just this time the oasis at stake, it's millions of lives, it's the actual fate of humanity. And again, it makes it clear that it's largely going to be based presumably around 80s pop culture. It's really a rehash, isn't it? It's one of those kind of sequels that you get frustrated with because they just do exactly the same thing again and just change the name of the bad guy. Not really interesting. And then I came across this kind of excerpt from the book, and my word, this is some shonky writing. I mean, the bit where it just lists films that are vaguely like another film. Who thinks like that? Who would think, oh, this is just like that film, and this film, and that film, and that film. Oh, I better get on with saving the world. Nobody. This is just the author listing off things to prove that he knows they exist. It's, as I mentioned, that kind of terrible aspect of geek culture, where as long as you can list off facts and figures, doesn't matter if you don't actually understand what those properties are actually about at their core. And as I've seen like some other people point out on Twitter, there's a Hitchhiker's Guide reference here, but it is of course the most obvious reference, like the one reference that everybody knows. It's not a reference that somebody who was a real fan of the material would pick out. It's not something more interesting than just the kind of pop culture cliche that is in the zeitgeist at large. And when you kind of look at this bit of writing here, it just boils down to the character going, I did this, I did this, I did this. Here's a list of pop culture things that are kind of vaguely relevant. There's nothing interesting in the writing here. There's no kind of real descriptive quality to any of it. It's just a kind of list of actions, then a list of pop culture things. And like I said in my video on the film, it's not even using the references in clever ways. It's literally just listing them out. It's just this bit is terrible. And if this is really a good flavour of what this book is going to be, I'm not looking forward to anybody making a film version of it, because it will be just as empty and vacuous as the first film was. Yeah, so Ready Player 2 doesn't look like it's really going to be much of an improvement on Ready Player 1, because it looks like Cline's writing has not developed in any way. Yeah, so there we go. Ready Player 2 coming to bookshelves near you.